LeBron, how you doing tonight, man? Yo, you wish Diddy happy birthday, man? Where do you get the man that has everything, LeBron?
It happened fast and it happened now. After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer, the sirens were suddenly back. News choppers thumped above Brentwood, trailing a convoy of FBI SUVs that rolled straight into the gates of LeBron James's estate. This wasn't some faded rumor or recycled scandal. These were real federal agents right now stomping through the manicured lawns of the most famous basketball star alive. Diddy's arrest was almost a year in the rearview. His mugshot had already become a meme. The so-called freak-off trial was halfway to box set status. But now the entire world watched as LeBron's fortress with its marble floors and private theater became the new front line in a celebrity scandal with no off switch. The shock wasn't just that The King's house was being searched. It was that the investigation had refused to fade away, and somehow it had circled back to someone no one ever thought would get dragged in.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
It happened fast and it happened now. After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer, the sirens were suddenly back. News choppers thumped above Brentwood, trailing a convoy of FBI SUVs that rolled straight into the gates of LeBron James's estate. This wasn't some faded rumor or recycled scandal. These were real federal agents right now stomping through the manicured lawns of the most famous basketball star alive. Diddy's arrest was almost a year in the rearview. His mugshot had already become a meme. The so-called freak-off trial was halfway to box set status. But now the entire world watched as LeBron's fortress with its marble floors and private theater became the new front line in a celebrity scandal with no off switch. The shock wasn't just that The King's house was being searched. It was that the investigation had refused to fade away, and somehow it had circled back to someone no one ever thought would get dragged in.
That I've talked for a while, a lot of people are buzzing that Diddy's former BFFs are real quiet.
And they have been.
And people were wondering why and who's the next to fall. And then Jay-Z comes out, and then LeBron James says, I'm stepping away for excused personal reasons. And people are going, oh, what is going on?
For anyone just tuning in, let's be clear. Parties weren't the innocent star-studded photo ops he sold to Vanity Fair in court. Cassie Ventura, his ex, his former protege, and now the prosecution's main witness didn't hold back. She described marathon freak-off parties sometimes, going on for days fueled by so many illicit substances that the guests could barely remember their own names. Cassie told the jury she'd give back every dollar of her $20 million settlement if it would wipe out what she went through. Being pressured, threatened, and filmed during performances she said she'd never really consented to. The press gallery gasped, the blogs melted down, and suddenly everyone was scouring old party photos to see which other household names might have been lurking in the background. And now with LeBron's name in the headlines, that game has become a feeding frenzy. That's why today's raid is so radioactive. The fact that LeBron thanking himself, the man whose brand has been bulletproof for 2 decades, is now the focus of a federal search. Days after new witness lists were quietly filed in New York. Days after attorney Tony Busby appeared in front of a bank of microphones, promising to reveal enablers whose names will shock you. That's not just news. That's an existential crisis for half the entertainment world. When Busby boasted that he represented more than 120 accusers when he promised, "We will expose the enablers behind closed doors," nobody thought LeBron's name was anywhere near that list. Until today, even if no charges ever touch him, even if the FBI leaves with nothing but dust bunnies, the mere image of government agents combing through his trophy room is the kind of blast that will haunt every interview he gives for years.
Talk about LeBron James, the Lakers head coach, saying he is out for personal reasons. It's an excused absence. However, social media trying to connect it to a resurfaced clip where James joined Diddy Combs on a live stream and said, quote, "Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party." I think that went viral. I remember when he...
Of course, the legal firestorm around Diddy was already enough to swallow an industry whole. His indictment, unsealed almost a year ago, wasn't just about trafficking or racketeering. It was about secret recordings, coercion, performances that prosecutors said were filmed without consent, then weaponized as blackmail. Cassie's account was just the tip. More than a dozen lawsuits, a parade of former staffers, and the threat that the real list of compromised stars would become public sooner or later. Every few months, new names names floated up.
A-listers, producers,
athletes.
But nobody
this
this
big,
big,
this protected.
The
pressure with LeBron's name now on the radar
is volcanic.
The internet naturally lost its mind
in real time.
The moment footage leaked off agents on LeBron's property,
old clips and jokes started bubbling up. The infamous Instagram Live where a grinning LeBron once said, "No party like a Diddy party got clipped, remixed, and blasted to millions of feeds." It's not a confession, not even close, but with the raid fresh in everyone's mind, it suddenly played like a ghost of foreshadowing. TikTokers and meme accounts swarmed in, spreading everything from deepfakes to Photoshop headlines. The phoniest headlines, LeBron and Diddy tape leaks made their rounds, with fact-checkers racing to keep up. But it didn't matter. In a world addicted to screenshots, reality was already outgunned. Comments piled up under every viral post. That's the most guilty comment I've ever seen, one said, racking up tens of thousands of likes. Never mind that mainstream reporters found no evidence LeBron had ever uttered the meme's now notorious line.
Never mind that mainstream reporters found no evidence LeBron had ever uttered the meme's now notorious line about how many parties he'd attended.
It happened fast, and it happened now. After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer.
Stories you'll want to know today. Sports legend. People call him the GOAT. LeBron James taking an excused absence from the basketball season. This, as resurfaced video, is being examined in a new...
Meanwhile, speculation spread about everything from humiliation rituals to deeper Hollywood
secrets.
The viral photo of LeBron supposedly in a maid's dress. Nobody could decide if it was real, staged, or a hallucination. Got shared with captions about rituals and blackmail insurance. Even as the James camp stayed completely silent, the absence of a statement only cranked up the tension. Conservative talking heads openly mocked his sudden lack of commentary. He weighs in on everything. Why not his friends' parties now?
He weighs in
and
on
beneath
everything.
all the memes and noise, the stakes kept getting higher. After all, there were still no criminal charges against LeBron, and so far the FBI wasn't saying a word about what they were looking for. But in the current climate, sometimes just being close to the blast radius is all it takes to get burned. What makes all of this even more surreal is that in the middle of the digital chaos, some of the wildest claims get more traction than the facts. The doctored Marca headline, supposedly about a tape of LeBron and Diddy, was busted by every fact-checker on the continent, but the version with the forged line spread to millions before anyone could debunk it. Every image used in those memes was traced back to old red carpets and precedents. Not one bit of visual evidence tied LeBron to any actual crime. But when the FBI shows up at your house, the truth starts to feel like a technicality. And in the real world, Diddy's trial has only grown darker. Cassie's testimony turned the so-called freak-off parties from rumor to legal record. She described days of humiliation, sometimes with dozens of witnesses, cameras everywhere, and a constant sense that everything was being recorded for reasons no one wanted to think about. She told the court that some of those performances were filmed explicitly for leverage, and with every revelation, the list of possible enablers and victims grew. The prosecutor's office wasn't naming names outside the indictment, but behind closed doors, the threat of new charges and subpoenas hovered over everyone who'd ever been in those rooms. That's why the FBI raid at LeBron's estate is so loaded. Even if nothing concrete emerges, just the suspicion that he might have held, even unknowingly, some of Diddy's infamous files is enough to keep half of Hollywood staring at their phones, waiting for the next push notification. It happened fast, and it happened now. After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer, the sirens were suddenly back. It happened fast, and it happened now. After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer, the sirens were suddenly back. News choppers thumped above Brentwood.
He talks in this complaint read about fearing for his life, not just while he was working for Sean Combs, but afterwards. He tells stories about physical violence, about a time where he actually had to drive 100 miles an hour to try to escape Mr. Combs, and says he didn't call the police because he worried that that would be a sentence.
Every time new witness testimony hits the headlines, the questions get uglier. Did Diddy trust LeBron enough to stash sensitive material at his house? Is the FBI chasing a real lead, or just running out the clock on rumors that got too big to ignore? And what happens if the agency's search turns up nothing? Does LeBron get his reputation back? Or is it already too late in the court of public opinion? The answer is nowhere in sight. But for now, with federal agents reportedly still searching the King's mansion, one thing is certain. The dividing line between rumor and reality has never been thinner. And the shadow of Diddy's case just got a lot darker for one of the biggest names in sports.
This is the flight where Diddy said to her, he testified that he showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm going to put this video out. I'm going to send it to your mother.
And that's coercion.
She testified
if it's true.
to that.
If the jury
believed her,
yeah.
That's coercion.
Almost as soon as those federal agents stepped inside
LeBron's
estate,
the internet's lens twisted again,
zeroing in on the viral photo of James dressed as a maid. A snapshot that on its own would have been shrugged off as a prank or some weird Halloween flex. But now, in the glare of an FBI search, it was dissected, debated, reframed by conspiracy sleuths as humiliation ritual evidence.
Was it real? Was it parody? Was it AI?
Was it
Even
parody?
the sharpest eyes online argued for hours, but the truth didn't matter nearly as much as the timing. And still, LeBron said nothing. No tweet, no statement, not even a quick denial from a publicist. The silence became its own kind of statement, echoing across every platform. That vacuum drew in critics from all corners. Candace Owens, never shy with a mic, jabbed at James for his new silence. Is LeBron James going to weigh in on his friend's freak-offs? I mean, we hear from the king on virtually every political issue, so this seems like an odd one to stay quiet about. The implication was clear. The less LeBron said, the more he had to hide. Or at least, that's how it plays to an audience that's grown suspicious of every celebrity who keeps their head down in a crisis. James's refusal to address anything now read as its own kind of plot twist. For years, he's been the go-to commentator on everything from social justice to legal drama. But when the heat moved from politics to private parties, his voice vanished. And that, more than any quote or meme, sent the internet into high gear. The speculation machine only needed a spark. If the king himself didn't want to clarify his relationship to Diddy's notorious scene, maybe the answers were hiding in plain sight,
if the king himself didn't want to clarify his relationship to Diddy's notorious scene, maybe the answers were hiding in plain sight or in deleted footage.
This is audio of a voicemail that Diddy left to the Jane Doe who's been testifying in this trial for the last couple days, and he sounds really annoyed. It's talking about her maybe giving him the silent treatment, and his response is, I got a busy life. I can't be dealing with your silent treatment, and we got to keep it.
That's when the missing spring break video suddenly mattered again.
We watched as users across X and TikTok scoured archives for a simple clip. LeBron's son, barely out of high school, hanging out with Diddy's twin daughters during a Turks and Caicos trip. The video was posted, seen, and then erased before anyone could blink. 1,000 versions of the story flared up overnight. Was it innocent? Was it oversight? For the crowd that trades in digital evidence, any disappearance is a smoking gun. Nobody in the James camp wanted to talk about it, and the Combs family said nothing either. That left the field wide open for conspiracy to fill the silence.
And the
Some users claimed it looked like cleaning up after a crime scene.
That left
Others
the field
wondered
wide
how many
open
other
for
videos or
conspiracy
texts
to
have
fill the
quietly
silence.
disappeared. The
Some
Vanishing
users
Act,
claimed it
coupled
looked
with
like
today's
cleaning
search,
up after a
only
crime
deepened
scene.
the paranoia. While the
Others
drama
just
raged
wondered how
online,
many
the
other
legal
videos
stakes
or
kept climbing
texts
in the
have
real
quietly
world.
disappeared.
Cassie Ventura's testimony
The
didn't
Vanishing
just light
Act,
up the
coupled
headlines
with today's
last year. It
search,
keeps getting replayed.
only deepened the
Each detail
paranoia.
sharpening the sense
While
of
the drama
danger
raged
for anyone
online,
close to Diddy.
the legal
She didn't
stakes kept
hesitate to
climbing
tell
in
the
the
jury
real
how
world.
she'd been pushed, threatened,
Cassie
and
Ventura's
humiliated.
testimony
How
didn't just
violence
light up
was
the headlines
backdrop
last
of
year.
every so-called party.
It keeps getting replayed.
Cassie described being
Each
trapped,
detail
forced into
sharpening the sense of
performances, her
danger
words
for
so
anyone
raw
close to
that
Diddy.
even seasoned courtroom reporters
She didn't
flinched.
hesitate to tell
In
the
the
jury
middle of
how
her
she'd been
testimony,
pushed,
the
threatened,
defense
and
tried to poke
humiliated.
holes, to claim it was just
How
a
violence
lifestyle
was the
choice.
backdrop of
But
every
Cassie
so-called
shot
party.
that down with chilling
Cassie described
clarity.
being trapped,
This wasn't about
forced into
free will.
performances, her words so
settlement
raw that
wasn't
even
hush
seasoned
money.
courtroom reporters
It was
flinched.
survival. It
In the
happened
middle of her
fast, and it
testimony,
happens now.
the defense
After a
agreed to
year of
poke
rumors
holes to
cooling
claim it
a
was
simmer,
just a
the
lifestyle
sirens were
choice.
suddenly back.
But
News
Cassie
it
shot
happened
that down
fast,
with
and it
chilling
happens
clarity.
now. After a year of
This
rumors
wasn't
cooling
about free
to a
will.
simmer, the sirens
Her
were suddenly
settlement wasn't
back.
hush
News
money.
choppers thumped above
It was
Brentwood,
survival.
trailing a convoy.
She testified, excuse me, that she was Diddy's ex-assistant. She said he her, sexually assaulted her in various ways multiple times. He exacted unbelievable violence against her, threatened her, one point allegedly threatened to take her phone and use anything on the phone.
But the most shocking moments didn't even come from Cassie. Brianna Bongolan took the stand and described a scene straight from a nightmare, being dangled over the railing of a 17th floor balcony, small and terrified, while Diddy raged. For a split second, I was thinking about if I was going to fall, but for the most part, he was yelling at me, she told the court. Photos of bruises and a neck brace made it hard for anyone to dismiss her as just another opportunist. In that context, proximity to Diddy suddenly looked like a criminal hazard, not just a PR problem. Attorney Tony Busby's warning landed heavier than ever. We will expose the enablers whose names will shock you. And right now, no matter what the legal record says, the name echoing in every room is LeBron. The question wasn't whether LeBron LeBron had committed any crime. There's no charge, no formal accusation, but in a scandal where silence appearance and digital trace are ammunition, even a birthday party selfie could turn radioactive. We watched as Diddy's so-called control files, allegedly stacks of recordings and images, never destroyed, always ready for blackmail, became more than a myth. Children became more than a myth. Hard drives and digital archives from Diddy's LA and Miami homes months ago. And rumors ran wild that some files had been stashed with trusted friends, not just kept in the mogul's own safe. As word spread that investigators were now combing through digital evidence seized from LeBron's place, it wasn't hard to see why half of Hollywood was suddenly sweating through their designer suits.
It wasn't hard to see why half of Hollywood was suddenly sweating through their designer suits.
After a year of rumors cooling to a simmer,
I don't think realized was he had cameras all over the place, unbeknownst to them. And now he has all that footage, supposedly. This is what I'm told. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens if, you're a huge, iconic, TV star or movie star, and
even
you're
the most innocent
footage now played differently.
The video of LeBron and Diddy dancing at a dinner, once just harmless fun, suddenly got recut and overanalyzed.
The Ain't No Party Like a Diddy Party clip got twisted into a digital confessional, even though it's no more than a party catchphrase. Those old photos from the ESPYs, once pure red carpet fodder, now showed up in split screens next to criminal headlines and courtroom sketches. This wasn't proof, not by any stretch. But we've seen what happens when the public gets a taste for blackmail tales and secret archives. With investigators picking through digital archives and warning of more revelations to come, even the most staged or harmless image can get a whole new meaning in the court of public opinion. The blackmail angle hung over everything like Los Angeles smog. Diddy's alleged habit of recording everything, collecting leverage and using it as insurance is now public record. We don't know what, if anything, was found in those federal raids.
Leverage and using it as insurance
and
is now
LeBron's lawyers
record.
have retreated behind closed doors.
We don't know what,
but
if
every
anything,
time
was
a
found
new
in
name
those
trends,
federal raids,
every time a file or message disappears, the sense of a wider net.
But every time a
maybe
new
it's
name
nothing.
trends,
Maybe it's
every
just
time
the
a file
collateral
or
chaos of a
message
major
disappears,
investigation.
the sense of
But in the
a
world
wider
of
net,
celebrity rumor
maybe
and
it's nothing.
reputation,
Maybe it's
sometimes being
just the
close
collateral
is all it
chaos of a
takes
major
to get scorched.
investigation.
To
But in the
not
world
be
of
involved with a
celebrity
famous singer, to not come out,
sometimes
here's the
close
price.
is all it takes to get
And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those. This is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties. He was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out.
The days ahead will be brutal for anyone caught in the splash zone. The industry has seen enough to know that being an enabler
doesn't just mean handing over a check
or turning a blind eye.
It can be as simple as a text, a guest list, a photo, a missing denial. LeBron's entire brand has been built on being above the fray, the one star who never loses. But with the FBI combing his mansion for evidence, his old quotes haunting every thread, and a string of viral images twisting the narrative, we're watching the unraveling of a carefully guarded legacy in real time. The world wants to know, is LeBron just collateral?
Is LeBron just collateral? An unlucky friend with bad timing,
or is there more lurking in the files,
in those vanished videos?
So here's the question that's keeping the internet up tonight.
Is LeBron James just another celebrity stuck in the crossfire of a scandal too big to escape? Or has America's king been hiding in plain sight, closer to the fire than any of us dared to believe? Drop your wildest theories and what you think the FBI could really find in those digital vaults below. We'll be watching because in this story, even the truth might not be enough to save a reputation. Until the next bombshell, stay curious, stay bold, and don't look away. This drama is just getting started.